Hey guys, well, I've got this engine up on the engine stand, and I'm going to tell you something. I don't trust this joker one bit. This is some kind of old engine stand that I've had for years and years, and I don't know where it came from. I think I inherited it somewhere. Maybe it was at a shop that was, or in the garage at a house or something that I moved into. I'm not sure where this came from, but this is an old. See in there, it's a Wilmar engine stand. It says it'll hold 750 pounds. And you can see I distrust this thing enough that I've got an engine prop up tool there, otherwise known as one of my homemade jack stands everybody hates. Anyway, so this thing is sitting here, and it's, even that thing there, it's leaning like this. It's like this, sort of. It's not entirely horizontal, and it's just got the usual setup back here. But you notice this plate is bent. It's already been over stressed at one point. So bottom line is I really don't like this thing. I don't trust it. I've got to be messing with this engine a lot, trying to cut things off and take things off and turn bolts and stuff and scrape and all that. So it's going to be moving around a lot, and I just don't have a good feeling about it. I don't want it flipping over. That tripod arrangement, that's the worst. And this thing, as far as I can tell, this thing has only got one bolt in there, one measly bolt that holds this part to the legs on it, and it's already, looks to me like it's not level down there either. So anyway, long story short, this thing is, it's not worth using. So I went and got one today that I like better. So this is a 2,000 pound, advertised 2,000 pound engine hoist. Why do I keep saying that? Engine stand. And yes, it came from Harbor Freight, but doesn't everything these days. So I put this thing together, and it is quite a bit beefier. You can see this is like about close to a 1 inch steel plate there, I guess. And it actually has a pin in it. Don't have to use a bolt anymore. So it's also not quite as high up off the ground as that one. So it should have a little bit better center of gravity, hopefully. So I feel better about this, and also this thing will fold up for storage because I'm just in a small building here, and space is at a premium. So I tend to have to stick things in odd places to have enough room for my work area, which is essentially this part here over this way, and then I also keep my car in here during the winter. Well, I'm going to try to keep it in here most of the time because I don't like it being rained on or anything like that. So try to keep it in here, and this thing, it'll just barely go in here, and I kind of messed up. I thought I had enough room here to, well, I guess I do really, but I have to put the bumper up against this cheap old shelving unit that I keep my chemicals and stuff on to get it in here, or the door won't close back there. So anyway, so I've been YouTube's been going pretty good lately, and you guys' support has helped me do this and some other stuff. I said these things, but there are these things, so I'll show you what else I got. I went and picked up another parts washer. I used to have one of these years ago, and it was in bad shape, and I don't know whatever happened to it. I think I just threw it out. It was one of my periods of kind of indifference about tools and stuff like this. But I went and bought another one, and this is just another one of these Chinese cheapo 20-gallon parts washers, which should last long enough. And it's identical to the Harbor Freight variety. But I got it from Tractor Supply. The only reason I got this one is I did not like the red and blue paint scheme that the Harbor Freight uses. I don't like that color scheme. It would annoy me every time I looked at it. So I went with this one. So I picked that up. At some point I picked up a creeper, which I have not used much. But also, check this guy out. bought myself a new vise. And that's a 6-inch Wilton. That's the Wilton that is made in China or someplace else, India possibly. But it is a Wilton, and they had these for a good price. I got nearly $100 off on this through Amazon. So this is the one I was using. I got so mad at that thing trying to use that one time. I don't know what possessed me to buy that. Well, I do really, but I'll tell you in a minute. But I got so mad at that old blue one that I actually took the hammer and just knocked it off the workbench. So anyway, this is a 6-inch vise, and so it's one of these deals where you got more vise than you have bench to hold it. In other words, you know, something's not going to slip out of the vise, but you may end up turning the workbench over trying to get something out or whatever. But anyway, I hadn't used it yet, but I'm sure I will. So got that, and this one, boy, I really like this. Let me tell you, this is my new DeWalt 1/4-inch impact driver, and this is another one of these things. Anybody buys cordless tools or any kind of tools, but specifically cordless tools, that you have to just sit there on the internet and look and look and look and look and look to find the right combination, because some of these things come with batteries and a charger. Some of them come with one battery. Some come with 2 batteries. You got 12 volts. You got 18 volts. You got 20 volt. I think there may even be some 48 volts. I'm not sure. They got 2 amp hour batteries. You got 4 amp hour batteries. Some of them just come with a tool only. A 1/4-inch, 3/8. So this stuff, if you don't just sit there and just study, like my grandparents used to say about it, study it and study it, you don't know what, you have no idea. So I'm pretty happy with this. I got a pretty good deal on it. I think this is a 20 volt max, they call it. Is a brushless, which, okay, great. I think that's mainly an advertising gimmick, and it's 1/4-inch. I have an adapter. You would not believe how long it took me to find this adapter, because I knew I had it. That's one of those things where, you see a tool that just floats around your toolbox for years and years and years. You have no idea what you'd ever do with it, but you keep it. And then when you go to use it, because you had it, and you finally, that's the building making that noise. You go use this thing, you can't find it. So I had to go look and look, because I knew I had it. I wouldn't throw something like that away. So anyway, boy, that thing works great. Man, that's a game changer in my opinion, because it just, just having to do stuff by hand so much now, that's gone. So anyway, I'm very happy with that. I even picked up a new dustbuster. So I've got a few odds and ends things I've picked up, and some I've used as much as I thought it would, and some I haven't. This is a solar battery maintainer. I haven't used it much, and that is just a regular battery float charger. I will use that this winter for the lawnmower out there. I have one of these digital infrared thermometers. I use it occasionally. I'm kind of skeptical of how accurate it is, but I think that's it. Oh yeah, I even was able to afford to put new casters on my chair. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. And I know, I recognize that this is not big production values on my videos that I make and stuff like that. There's people that do a lot of stuff that's got a lot of wow factor in it, and I think everybody should enjoy those. I enjoy them. But I have to this is a one-man show here, and I have to balance one income here at this house, so I have to balance, as always, my work time and my playtime, you might call it, fun time. And so I just try to hang in there and just do some things to bring you guys along and hope y'all are a little bit entertained. And so I'm going to wrestle around with this thing and get this engine swapped over to this engine stand, which means I have to put the legs down on my engine hoist. And I think I have to, yeah, I have to run it around over here. That's the way I did. I have it sitting there, and that's a storage spot. But I think I'm gonna move that engine up a little bit anyway. So yeah, this little shop, man, I'm thankful as everything for it. I just have to. I mean, I have to. Everything in here has to have its own spot. You know, it just. I mean, things get put in places that are not necessarily that. I guess you could say that convenient, like these things here down along the end of the workbench, but that gets them out of the way, and I can still have them in here. So this table I think is going to go out of here because I've got another piece of equipment coming in here. I'm going to buy a sandblasting cabinet as soon as I can find a good deal on one, and do that. And I've got my press over there. I rarely use that press, but man, you can't do anything that requires a press. You just have to have one. So that thing is invaluable when I need it. And I got my welder and I got my pressure washer, and those are two slant six engines back there that cannot go anywhere else. So they're not going outside under any circumstances. And I don't know, somebody has mentioned this. One of my friends, I think from South America, Mexico maybe. Not sure where the gentleman's from. A real nice guy. He comments on my videos. And he had asked me about the engine for that scamp out there. And this one here in the end that's poking, you can see the corner of it poking out. That's painted red, but that's a 71 engine. That's a 71 slant six engine and all that. And that's exactly the engine that goes in that scamp. That's not the scamp's engine. I don't know what they did with it, but it's gone. But anyway, that one is reputed to run good. And that was another one of my YouTube friends brought that to me as a generous donation. It's Jamie from up here in Tennessee, and really thank him for that because I think that'll be a good engine. And I already have that's the transmission for the Dart there. But over here I have, that's an A904 for a slant six. I think that's a 70 or a 71. It's pretty close to being, if it's not right on the right date, it's pretty close. Same exact transmission. So that should be a good transmission also. I bought that back when I was considering what to do about the transmission in that Plymouth out there, and I ultimately decided to use my other spare that I knew worked. So we'll get into that, and we get ready to put that car together, and we'll have to go through that. So I may do a video series on that and try to do a better job of it this time, because the last video series on the torque flight, I lost some footage, and that just really screwed the whole thing up at the end. That's my core pile in there. Those are core alternators and starters that, well, actually a couple of those starters been rebuilt, and no, they haven't. They have not. That's right. That's a little sideline I got going now. I rebuilt these starters and stuff, and I'm about to start rebuilding alternators also. And one of those alternators is the date-coded alternator that goes on that Chrysler there. Again, that is not the alternator that came with it, but it's the right date and the right alternator because Mopar changed around. They use different alternators for different applications. That car takes a 46 amp dual groove alternator, and that gold car takes a 46 amp single groove alternator. That bronze Plymouth out there that I drive takes a single groove 37 amp alternator. On and on and on. So none of them currently get it. None of them currently have the right alternator on them. That one's got one that's like a 37 amp. I don't know where it came from. It's a Reman POS. And that one had a Reman on it that I don't know what it is either. So I've been looking out for the right ones. I've got the one for that one to rebuild. I'll start looking for the one. Well, I've been looking. I hadn't found it. The right one for that one. So if anyone has any of these alternators hanging around, if you don't care, if you think you may have one that I could use, I'd sure appreciate you letting me know. I need one that, it doesn't matter really about the pulleys, but I need a round back alternator that has got the correct date codes on it, close enough. anywhere from about mid-1968 up through the end of 1968. Casting dates on it, they need to match front and rear. And the part number on them is 2098850. So if you happen to have that, that would be what I need for this dart. So I'd appreciate it. I'll be, of course, perfectly willing to buy that from you. So, all right, guys. Well, enough yapping and all that. I thought I'd just take you on a little tour of what's going on here in the shop. And I got a lot of work ahead of me, so I'm raring to go on that. I had to spend part of the day today just running around. I had to go down to Huntsville and buy that hoist. I did again. That's a hoist. That's an engine stand. I know what it is. It's throwing me off. See, that thing has those legs on it, and maybe that's confusing me. I keep looking at it and thinking, well, maybe it's a hoist. I don't know. What is it? That thing. I went and bought that thing and then had to run a couple more errands too, so that burned up part of the day today. But all right. So you guys always feel free to put in suggestions or things you want to see, things you want me to talk about. You know, stuff that I'm into doing, going on in here and with the cars and stuff, or all that. You just let me know, and I'll see what I can do to set it up. And I'm sorry I've not been keeping up with the comments very good lately. I've just been, like I said, very, very busy with it. So, all right, enough yapping. So let me get that thing swapped over, and we'll get in here tomorrow, and we're going to start taking that engine apart. We're not going to rebuild it, not unless I find something terribly wrong with it, but we're going to start undressing it. I got to get that crossover pipe off, valve covers, timing cover, water pump, intake, all that. See what we got in there. All right, I will see you then. Thanks for watching.